What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. Today, the Portland Trail Blazers have another miserable first quarter, scoring 11 points in the opening frame and a season-low 37 in the first half as they fall in Boston 102-94. This was the second straight miserable first quarter for the Portland Trail Blazers as they followed up their 12-point opening quarter last game with 11 points in the first quarter tonight. That's 23 points in the last two first quarters for your Blazers. Just absolutely dismal starts to basketball games. They did stay in this one. I'm fixing the typo in the headline. They did stay in this game. They did make a little run there late, but this was a game in which the Blazers never led. The Celtics led by as many as 21 points. They were up 21 to end the first quarter, 32-11. The Blazers did a good job after that. They won the game after that, but another slow start dooms this team. If you're wondering where Eric is, Eric will be here about an hour into the show. We'll probably keep this one a little bit shorter today. We do have another post-game show tomorrow after the Blazers take on the Wizards. This was a game where the Blazers sorely missed Deni Avdija. They've, I believe, played 5 games without Deni. 3 of them have been absolutely horrible offensive nights. One at Golden State, the night at home against Toronto, the previous game, and then tonight in Boston taking on the Celtics. This was just an offense that was stuck in quicksand for the better part of this game. I mean, maybe it was just the first quarter. They scored 83 points. The final 3 quarters, that's solid, especially against a solid defensive team. But when you start out down 21 after the opening quarter, you start out with 11 points in the first quarter, you're just not going to win many of those games. For whatever reason, the Blazers the past couple of games have not been ready to play once the ball is tipped, and it's lost them both games. It's hurt them. So we're going to talk about this loss. We're going to break it all down. Maybe I'll jump into some of the Giannis trade talk. We got the trade deadline only 10 days away, which is absolutely crazy. I'll discuss my thoughts on the trade deadline for your Portland Trail Blazers. I'll take some of your questions given that Eric's not here. And this is going to be a lighter little stream today. But man, oh man, the offense in this one was a bit frustrating to watch. I think this was one of the, how do I word this nicely, sillier games for the Blazers. There was a lot of bad decisions in this game. There was a lot of really bad mistakes throughout this game from your Blazers. We'll take a look at the team stats. I don't know how many turnovers they finished with. That's why I gotta pull up the team stats here. The Blazers finished with 18 turnovers to Boston's 16. They did have 11 offensive rebounds to Boston's 10, 22 fouls to Boston's 21. Those are the 3 areas I normally like to look at. It was pretty even there. But, man, it felt like the Blazers beat themselves today. There's just multiple plays throughout this game from Sidy Cissoko just holding the ball in one hand and losing it out of bounds to Caleb Love having Sharpe on a break, and instead of throwing it over the hand, over the defender, he tried to lob it from his waist. It gets hit out of bounds, and then on the ensuing inbounds, Caleb Love throws a turnover, and Boston was headed the other way. There was multiple plays that stood out from me in this game where the Blazers just were not making good decisions offensively. Of course, you can look at the three-point shot making, 25% from 3 for the Blazers, 10 for 40. That's not going to get it done. But they got to the line 12 more times than Boston. They made 9 more free throws. So they were able to get to the charity stripe, able to generate free throws coming off the back of the last game in which the Blazers only shot 10 free throws and made 7 of them. That changed today. The Blazers were able to get to the line. Jeremy Grant got to the line like his name was Deni Avdija. But when you can't make threes and when you turn over the ball the way the Blazers do, and they did not score well in the paint. This is a Celtics team that was playing a second-round rookie big man for a large portion of this game. That, of course, is Amari Williams, who played 26 minutes, and the Blazers were not able to attack the paint once again. Once again, the Blazers struggled to attack the paint. This is after last game where it was the same story for this Blazer team. going up against the Toronto Raptors, who were starting Sandro Mamukelashvili at center, who is not a rim protector. He's a really gifted offensive center. I really like his offensive game, but not a rim protector. And there was a lack of size from Toronto at the center spot. Boston has some size, but Neemias Queta might be a third-string big elsewhere. He's a starting center for the Celtics. He's been okay, but he's not really impressive in any area. And then they're playing a second-round rookie big man off the bench today, who honestly, he had a better game than Donovan Clingan. He had a better game than, Clingan had 4 blocks. Maybe he didn't. We'll talk about Clingan. Clingan was a minus 19. Clingan's been frustrating. The Blazers, without Donovan Clingan on the floor, in the 20 minutes he did not play, did outscore the Celtics by 11 points. Okay? And not to be the plus-minus person for an individual player, but Donovan Clingan is struggling right now, and I'm going to get into that. I'm also going to get into Shaedon Sharpe absolutely not showing up for this team at all today. The Blazers needed Shaedon Sharpe in this game, and Shaedon Sharpe didn't come through whatsoever offensively. You got a good game from Tamani, 6 for 13. He had 18 points. Grant, 4 for 9 from the field, but had 19 points because he was 10 for 15 from the free throw line. So is that an efficient night? I don't know. Caleb Love had some moments, but he was only 5 for 14. But Shaedon Sharpe, 3 for 12, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 9 points in 34 minutes. You expect more from him. So I'm going to continue to talk about what he needs to get better. I am a bit worried by the decision-making from him, especially the past couple of games. In the last 4 games, Shaedon Sharpe, 10 assists, 17 turnovers. Not going to get it done. So we're going to break it all down. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. Well, I say with us. I'm used to having Eric here. It's not with us. It's with me right now. But, yeah, Eric's coaching his kid. But give me your thoughts on the game in the live chat. I'll read off some of the comments. I'm going to have to read some comments to keep the stream flowing smoothly here. So give me your well-versed thoughts in the live chat. If you're watching back after, we appreciate you as well. Leave your thoughts on this game down in the comments section below. And, of course, subscribe if you're new. We got the trade deadline coming up soon. Exciting time. Lots of Giannis rumors. Excited to get into that. But the story of this game, yes, it's the lack of three-point shot making, but also it's just the lack of ability to get to the rim. The Blazers, although they couldn't buy a three, although they didn't have the greatest shooting lineup, they're one of the worst shooting teams in the league. We know that. And without Deni Avdija, not a good shooting team. They took more than half their shots from behind the arc. Donovan Clingan in his 28 minutes took more than half his shots from behind the three-point arc. He was 4 for 9, 1 for 5 from the three-point line. How many of those shots inside the arc came off putbacks? How many times did Donovan Clingan receive a pass inside the arc? I mean, is some of that just because he's camping out behind the three-point arc? I'm starting to see some worrying trends that having Deni would mask. I mean, I think the Blazers maybe win this game, maybe win the last game if they have Deni Avdija, but there's some certain things that need to improve from some other players on this team so that this offense isn't too reliant upon Deni Avdija completely carrying it. He's certainly capable of doing that. He's proven that so far this year, but these last 2 games without him, absolutely brutal. It is expected that he will return tomorrow. He's going up against his former team in the Washington Wizards. The Blazers wanted to play it safe today. I think they wanted to give Deni the chance to play in Washington because he missed that game last year. So I get that. Now you got to take care of business on the second of a back-to-back against Washington. That would be a really bad loss. The Blazers are now 1 game below 500. They're below 500 again. Got to take care of business tomorrow night. But just the lack of ability to get to the rim, the lack of ability to finish. The Blazers were 22 for 38 inside the arc, which I guess isn't terrible. It's above 50%, but you only get 38 shots inside the arc. You do get to the line a lot, but 36 points in the paint. Normally the Blazers are around 50. We've seen them as high as 60. 36 points in the paint against a team that they do a good job of containing dribble penetration, and that will go into my larger point. But once again, this is a team without impressive defensive centers, in my opinion. Maybe I'm sleeping on Queta a little bit too much, but this is another team without impressive defensive bigs that the Blazers were not able to exploit and get to the rim and finish against regularly enough. So I think the bigger point the last 2 games, though, has been the lack of ability to break down defenses off the dribble. We've talked about it with this offense. This offense is very reliant upon dribble drive, dribble penetration, and winning at the point of attack off the dribble. When you have Deni Avdija, who leads the league in drives, it looks really good because he's constantly able to do that. He's constantly sparking motion. He's constantly sparking movement. Even on plays where he doesn't end up with an assist or a bucket, plays that don't show up in the box score for him, he's still sparking things by beating his defender off at the point of attack, forcing the defense to help at the rim, forcing the defense to get caught in rotations when he kicks the ball out. So ball gets kicked out, swing, all of a sudden there's a driving lane because you're swinging the ball against a scrambling defense, and players are able to play off of that. That is sparked by Deni Avdija. Even if the result is 3 passes later, a good shot for somebody else, Deni Avdija sparks a ton of good offense for this team that doesn't even show up in the box score. And we're talking about a guy who's really, really impressive in terms of his box score stats. 26, 7, and 7 per game. Obviously an all-star this year. That's obviously an all-star stat line. But there's even more possessions when he's out there on the floor where the Blazers are able to get good ball movement and get good motion off of his dribble penetration. It's backed up by the stats, 20 drives per game for Deni Avdija, and he has one of the best on-off ratings in the entire league. The Blazers offense is so much better with Deni Avdija on the floor, and that's backed up statistically. That without him, it shouldn't be too surprising that the Blazers struggle. The only guy that could consistently get things going from a little bit of a scoring standpoint and a playmaking standpoint in this game was Jrue Holiday. He had a stretch there in the first quarter that got the Blazers back into the game where he had 8 out of 12 points and assisted on at least one of the other 2 buckets. I believe he assisted on both. One was a really nice lob to Robert Williams, a really creative lob. The announcers didn't know if it was a shot or a pass. Outside of that, Jrue was kind of quiet, though. It was kind of all in that one stretch that he had. He finishes with 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. But that was a nice stretch from Jrue to get the Blazers back in this game. They just were too far down to get over the hump in this one. Too far down to fully come back. The Blazers beat the Celtics in the second, third, and fourth quarters. They outscored Boston 26-20 in the second, 28-23 in the third, and 29-27 in the fourth quarter. They won 3 of the 4 quarters in this game. They just lost the first one that poorly that they still lost by 8. When you lose the first quarter by 21 points, that's just too much catching up to do. Chat, let me know where you want me to start in this one. I'll kind of leave it up to you. We're going to jump into the players. This is going to be a shorter stream with no Eric here. I mean, Eric will be here at the end of it, so we'll get his thoughts on this game. But Dead End in chat says, Deni makes Shaedon better. Shea fans could really acknowledge that. Deni does make Shaedon better. Shaedon's in a more natural role for himself when Deni Avdija is on the floor as the main guy offensively. Shaedon, when he has a spurt where he hits tough shots, can carry the offense through tough shot making. We saw it with that 24-point second half against Miami. But that is not the most sustainable way to carry a team off of hitting tough shots. It's just not. And since that 24-point half, Shaedon, he was kind of bad last game. He was okay, I guess, but not... He didn't really play up to the standard of like a number 1 guy. And then this game didn't play up to the standard of just a straight up starting caliber player. Like he was brutal tonight. 3 for 12, 1 for 6 from 3, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, like missed every mid-range shot. I'm getting tired of him shooting mid-range shots. It's starting to get a little bit Jeremy-esque from last year with the mid-range shots that Shaedon Sharpe shoots. He hits the toughest ones, I guess, but I talked about it last postgame show. The ones where he dribbles straight into it, feels like he doesn't really make many of those. Doesn't really feel like he hits the easier or hypothetically easier mid-range shots. Right now he's just not a primary guy. He's just not a primary guy. He's not a ball handler. He's not a guy that you want dribbling the ball a lot. With Deni Avdija out, unfortunately, you just don't have enough offensively on this team. Basically, you have to put Shaedon Sharpe in a role where it's like, okay, you're going to handle the ball a lot. Hopefully, you can get hot hitting some tough shots. But against a team that does a good job defending the perimeter, he couldn't win at the point of attack. That's why he took a lot of mid-range shots in this game. He was 1 for 6 from 3, missed a wide-open 3. Was not a good three-point shooting game for him. I believe he made his first 3. I don't remember. But outside of that, the three-point shot wasn't falling. And, I mean, there was a possession. He took a step-back mid-range. I believe it was against Peyton Pritchard. And if you can't beat Peyton Pritchard at the point of attack, like, we got a problem, because there's going to be possessions where Derek White's on you. Derek White, one of the best defenders in the league, looked like it tonight. And this has been a little bit of my worry with Shaedon Sharpe, is like, against good physical defenses and good physical defenders, can he consistently beat them off the dribble without turning over the ball and be efficient enough as a scorer, because he doesn't do a whole lot of playmaking off the drive. And in games like tonight where he's 3 for 12, like, obviously that was not the case tonight. But to go back to the point made in chat, when he's able to cut when Deni drives and Deni's sparking kickouts to him where he can attack closeouts, it makes his job a lot easier. And I do think Deni and Sharpe, when they've played the past month or so, were developing some very good chemistry off of each other. But Deni is clearly the number one offensive guy on this team. Sharpe, occasionally when he makes tough shots, can cosplay as that, but it's just not consistent enough in that particular role. Sharpe is a guy that needs to be off the ball, cutting, coming off of curls, playing in transition, filling the lanes, handling the ball in transition. He's fine at. Catching lobs. That's the more natural role for Shaedon Sharpe right now. The hope is that someday the playmaking and decision-making, the reads, will improve to the point where he can be more of a primary guy with the ball in his hands. He's still only 22 years old. There's still time for that. But honestly, I'm a little worried about the lack of improvement in the playmaking and reading defenses areas from even the end of his rookie season, when they started tanking and he had some playmaking flashes in his second year. I just feel like there has not been enough progress from year one, end of year one, when he was 19 years old, to year 4. He's now 22 years old. Yes, he's still young. Yes, he still has time. But I feel like he's not improving in these areas, maybe at the rate that he should be. Now, people get upset at this criticism because they feel like I'm being hard on Shaedon Sharpe. Like, man, why don't you criticize Ryan Repair instead? Why don't you criticize City Sissoko instead? Why don't you criticize whatever no-name player we have at the end of our bench? The standard is much higher for Shaedon Sharpe. The standard is much higher. He's scoring over 20 points per game. He's close to league average efficiency, right? This is criticism coming from having higher standards of him being able to step up and be that number one guy in a game like this when the Blazers need him to be. When he comes up short in that way, there's going to be some criticism for not being able to step up and be the number one guy, because that, to me, is my expectation when Deni's out, that Sharpe comes in, steps up, and is that number one scoring option. I'm not gonna sit here and criticize Ryan Repair for not stepping up and being the number one scoring option. At this point, I sit here criticizing Ryan Repair if he can't score 1 point in a game, because it feels like half the games he plays 13 minutes and doesn't score at all, doesn't do anything at all. So, yeah, obviously there's a different level of standard here, but I do think the criticism of the playmaking and some of the decision-making is fair. I think some of the decisions in this game and some of the decision-making last game was a bit rough. He really struggled with this at the start of the season. I think he did improve, but when he has to step up and be the number one guy, it still does not look particularly pretty if he's not making tough shots. And it's tough to be a consistent contributor just relying on making tough shots. You got to be able to do other things. You got to be able to contribute in other areas. I don't think his defense was bad today, and I have been pleased with his defense so far this year. He's been more competitive at the point of attack. He gets more steals now. Like, he's more engaged. There's been some good progress there for sure, but I want to see more improvement with the playmaking stuff, man. I've been talking about it all season long. Marv says Shea did have a good long bounce pass to Love on the break for a layup. Probably best bounce pass by anyone whole game. He can throw a bounce pass between two defenders. He can throw a pocket pass on a pick and roll. That's essentially what that is. There's just not enough beyond that, playmaking-wise. It's kick-out passes, and it's maybe a pocket pass or a bounce pass to somebody streaking ahead of him in transition. It was a nice pass for sure. Nice pass for sure, but I want to start seeing some more advanced reads out of him and see. I want to see him read the game at a higher level. It doesn't feel like he's reading the game at a particularly high level right now, but he's so gifted. He can have a 24-point half. He can have a great half, but it holds him back in games like this. Also, good point in chat. Shea gets a worse defender on him with Deni on the floor. Yeah, the difference is the best defensive player with Deni out is going to guard Shaedon Sharpe. But this also should really make you appreciate what Deni Avdija has done this year, where he gets the top defensive assignment. He gets the bulk of attention from the opposing defense, and he's still consistently produced at, honestly, a borderline superstar level offensively for this team. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to say when you just look at the impact that Deni Avdija has made on this offense. So should be back tomorrow. Looking forward to watching him play tomorrow. I mean, his last game he had 20 points in 18 minutes before getting hurt at the start of the second half. So really, this team really misses him when he's not out there on the floor. The thing is next year when you have Damian Lillard, maybe you have a little bit more offensive talent. If you miss Deni for a game, like, I trust Dame to step up and be Dame. You know, it's we'll see what he looks like when he comes back. But in the future, even with missing Deni, Sharpe likely won't have to take as much responsibility as he does right now with Deni gone, especially when you don't have Scoot Henderson as well. You don't have that extra ball handler that can win some at the point of attack, get downhill, create for others. This team, I would be curious to see Scoot Henderson in year 3. I was expecting a jump, but that's the thing that sucks about Scoot's injury is, like, he's the exact type of guard we kind of need when Deni Avdija is out. We need somebody that can consistently handle the ball, break down defenses, put pressure on the rim a little bit, and play make. And Jrue Holiday can do it for stretches, albeit in a different way. He kind of plays at his own pace. But at this age, and with him seemingly still being on a minutes restriction, he played 24 minutes tonight. It's tough to ask Jrue Holiday to do that consistently throughout a game. Todd Keith asks, how does a hamstring cost you an entire season? Well, if you look at Jalen Green, there's your answer. He's played at the start of the season, got hurt, sat out 2 months, came back, got hurt again. So I understand the Blazers being patient with Scoot Henderson on the injury front, but I don't really understand the timetable that they gave out when he got injured. Doesn't really make sense. They said 48-week timetable to return to basketball activities in late September. 18 weeks in, we finally get an update. Oh, he's sprinting. I guess sprinting is a basketball activity, unless your name is DeAndre Ayton. But yeah, I don't understand the timetable. But I do understand being patient with him when you see guys like Jalen Green who keeps re-aggravating that injury. Cam Weaver says, do you think you guys will talk trades? Yeah, I'll talk trades once I get done going through the players here. Jake Fisher says Knicks are interested in Jrue. I mean, what are they willing to trade for Jrue? I doubt they're trading McHale for Jrue. I doubt they're trading OG Anunoby for Jrue. They have to match his salary. I believe they're in a position where they have to trade out more salary than Drew Holiday because of the first apron. So I don't really know. I don't think they trade OG or McHale for Drew Holiday. Maybe they would do that for Drew Holiday and a pick. Maybe they want one of the Bucks picks to try and swing a Giannis trade. Don't really understand that. Like, I don't really see the avenue there for them to acquire Drew Holiday. And, you know what? I'll get this out of the way. As far as the McHale thing, the McHale talk is driving me crazy right now because it's all based off of a Jake Fisher report where he was essentially saying that back in 2023, the Blazers had interest in McHale before Dame left. Okay, well now they have Tamani Camara. Now McHale doesn't look as good as he did a couple years ago. McHale, I don't believe, has as much value as a couple years ago. Yet there's trades that have been thrown out there, like the Blazers trading 2 of the 3 Bucks picks, as well as Jeremy Grant for Mikal Bridges to help the Knicks get Giannis. That's an insane trade for the Blazers. That'd be a horrible trade for the Blazers. I'd come on here absolutely blasting the Blazers front office if they made that trade. So naturally, they'll make that trade, and then I'll come on here and I'll blast them, and then people say, you're just trying to find something to complain about. You just hate this trade because Joe Cronin made it. No, that's simply a bad trade. Simply a bad trade. You don't give up the upside of the Bucks picks with a guy like a Jeremy Grant who's playing honestly close to the level McHale's playing at this year. McHale's on a huge contract extension. You don't give up 2 potential top 5 picks with Grant to turn him into Mikal Bridges. That's essentially caps the ceiling of the Blazers long term. And the reward is not a team that's going to contend. So the Blazers are not in a position to trade the Bucks picks for anything less than a star. And I hate the whole idea that, oh, they'll trade a couple Bucks picks to help the Knicks get Giannis for what would be a crappy package. Like, Cat and McHale for Giannis puts the Bucks at the bottom of the league for the next 7-8 years, in my opinion, because they don't have their own picks. If that's the trade that's going to happen, the Blazers are much better served by just letting the Bucks get back McHale, get back Cat, and then trying to turn them into anything else. Or if they keep both those guys and they have a big 3 of Cat, Mikal Bridges, and Kyle Kuzma. All right, I'm holding on to those Bucks picks if I'm the Blazers, and I'm rubbing my hands, salivating about the 2028, 2029, and 2030 drafts when, if I'm Portland, I'm trying to contend and have a pick at the top of those drafts. And honestly, a pick at the top of the draft might be more reasonable or realistic because I think the Bucks will absolutely suck. So why, if you're Portland, would you give up a Bucks pick in a trade that makes the Bucks picks even more valuable just to turn a Jeremy Grant into a Mikal Bridges? Makes absolutely no sense. I'm not buying the rumor because it was based on something years ago. The Blazers used to have interest in McHale. They really liked him once. Yeah, well, that was when Norman Powell just got traded and he was their starting small forward and they really needed defense around Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons. Completely different team now. Completely different team. If you got any more trade questions, I guess I'll kind of bounce back and forth between talking about the players from this game and the trade questions. Tamani Camara, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 for 9 from 3. I need to check his shot chart. How many of his misses were from the corner? What did he shoot from the corner? Because he had that possession where he airballed a 3 from the corner, got the ball back, immediately shot another corner 3 and bricked that one as well. He was 1 for 4 from the corner. He was 2 for 5 outside of the corner, so 40% outside the corner, 25% in the corner. He's been much, much worse statistically shooting from the corner, but he still takes a lot of threes from the corner. Nobody on this team can make corner threes consistently. Tamani's consistently made threes above the break. He has not consistently made threes from the corner. He's consistently missed threes from the corner. Chris Murray consistently misses threes from the corner. Sidi Sissoko is not consistent from the corner. He had one of the ugliest air balls from the corner today. Shaedon Sharpe made a 3 from the corner today, but he's not particularly consistent there either. In today's NBA, you need to make defenses pay for leaving the corner shooter. It is the biggest roster construction flaw on this team. It really is. Hypothetically, your best 2 corner 3-point shooters are your main 2 ball handlers in Jrue Holiday and Deni Avdija. But they are usually not in the corner. They're usually above the arc handling the ball and driving. I guess Jeremy Grant might be one of your only consistent corner 3-point shooter that stays in the corner, spots up in the corner regularly. I'll look up his corner 3-point percentage. But this team sorely needs 1 or 2 guys that can make defenses pay for leaving the corner. There's the play today where, chat, hopefully you remember what play I'm talking about. The Blazers trapped. The Celtics got the ball out of the trap to the middle of the floor to the roll man. And Jrue Holiday, who was guarding Derek White in the corner, left Derek White in the corner to help onto the roll man. The roll man hit Derek White. Corner 3, he cashed it. And you're confident he's going to make that. You're confident that Peyton Pritchard's going to make that. You're confident that Anthony Simons is going to make that. Right? They got a bunch of guys that you're confident, yeah, they'll knock down corner 3s. You can't help onto the roll man once they get the ball out of the trap. You can't help off the corner. You're leaving a shooter wide open in the corner. That's the shortest 3-point shot. So this team needs somebody that can drill that corner 3 consistently. It's one of the biggest needs. That's why I really like the idea of Rui Hachimura. Because he shoots almost 50% from the corner from 3. And plays a forward spot. Rui and connect for Robert Williams and Matisse Thybulle if you can then replace Robert Williams with a backup center that maybe gives you 75% of what Robert Williams does, but plays on back-to-backs and can play more minutes. And therefore might give you more than Robert Williams gives you. That's like the possibly realistic trade package that I like to address a need. Bridges is 39% from 3 this season. Okay, and Jeremy Grant is 38% from 3 this season. So you'd have to trade Jeremy Grant in a McHale trade. Maybe, what is he making this year? Maybe you can patchwork it and get the money there. But this team's not going to go into the tax. They're right up against the tax line. Okay, McHale's extension kicks in next year. He's making $25 million right now. So, yeah, I guess you can get there with Rob and Thybulle, but you're going to start McHale over Tamani and have Grant and Tamani off the bench? It kind of feels like a lot just to try and address a shooting need, given the assets that you'd have to give up to get him and the salary where he's going to be making $33 million next year, 4-year deal. In the 4th year, he's making $41.5 million. The Blazers don't need McHale to address the shooting need. They don't need to pay a premium. Yeah, he's a better player because he's a good defender, can do some stuff off the dribble. But the Blazers have, next year at least, they have a good complement of guys that can do stuff off the dribble. Don't really need to pay a ton in terms of draft capital and money for another guy to do that because they can make threes. Like, just go get a 3-point shooter that can play okay defense. Grant shot 70% of the threes Bridges has. Bridges plays all the time. Grant never plays. I mean, Grant's missed 14 games this year. Yeah, McHale's a little bit healthier, but why on earth would you trade a pick that could be the number 1 pick in a draft? I think has a decent chance 2028 through 2030. I think there's a decent chance if Giannis gets traded to the Knicks that the Blazers end up with a top 5 pick You think the difference between Jeremy and Mikal is A, big enough to justify giving up that opportunity, giving up that level of upside that this team needs to contend. I mean, that's pretty much the only point. I don't really get it. Don't really get it. So, yeah, like, you could talk about how much Mikal plays and this and that, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really a relevant argument in regards to why would you give up the upside of the Bucks picks for a guy that's not a star, and you're trading Grant, who is a solid player as well. Doesn't make sense. Like that's the type of move Neil Olshey would make. That's the type of move Neil Olshey would make to become a team that's a 4 seed that never has a chance to win at all. I don't like that. I like Drew for Bridges. Yeah, but the Knicks are going to want more than that. They gave up 5 first-round pick for Bridges. They're not about to turn him around and trade him for Drew Holiday, who's constantly injured. I mean, maybe not constantly injured, but he's 36. 36? Yeah, 36. No, he's 34. Okay, Google's lying to me. There's no way he's 34. How old is he really? What's his real age? He's 35. He's almost 36. He turns 36 in June. I think I keep adding a year to the 35-year-olds because Dame's 35 right now, and I'm keep talking about him like he's 36 because he's going to be 36 when he returns. So I guess I'm accidentally doing that to Drew too. But regardless, he's 35. They're not going to trade Mikal straight up for him. Lazy Panda says you need to make moves. Waiting till you get a draft pick and then waiting for 2 to 3 years till the player be ready to play at a high level is too much waiting. You have a star breaking out now. Yeah, you make moves for another star. You don't make moves for another role player. Those picks are too valuable to just trade it for a high caliber role player. If Milwaukee sucks in 2028, those picks will be worth so much more than Mikal. That's the thing, is keeping the picks and not trading for them for a Mikal right now does not necessarily mean, oh, that means you have to use them. It means you wait till hopefully the Bucks are bad enough where those picks have even more value. If they don't, okay, then if the Bucks are somehow still competitive in 2028, 2029, then you package those picks for a Mikal. But you don't do it now. There's too much upside that you're completely giving up on by trading them for Mikal. Trevor says I've been adding a year to Caleb Love too. I keep saying he's 24 years old. What are you talking about? Anyway. Good game from Tamani. I wish he'd shoot less threes in the corner, but somebody has to shoot threes in the corner. You can't have everybody spotting up above the break, so I guess it will be him even when he's airballing. Drew Holiday, 14 points, 5 for 11 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals in his return to Boston. Yeah, he played solid. Just this team needed him to have that spurt he had in the first half, like for the entire game, which, like I said earlier, it's asking a little bit too much out of Drew Holiday. He has looked good since his return, though, which is encouraging. Hopefully, at some point in the next couple of weeks, he can maybe get off that minutes restriction. Not sure. Shaedon Sharpe, I mean, we talked a lot about him, but 9 points, 3 for 12, 1 for 6 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. Just didn't step up for this team whatsoever. It was kind of invisible out there. It's kind of invisible out there. Really disappointed with him today. City Sissoko, speaking of disappointment, 25 minutes, 4 points. 1 for 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. The miss was brutal. 2 turnovers, 4 fouls in 25 minutes. City Sissoko, if there's one thing you can count on him to consistently do, it's foul the opposing team. He was a minus 11. Off the bench, Jeremy, 19 points, 4 for 9 from the field, 10 for 15 from the free throw line. I like that he was aggressive, got downhill, got to the free throw line. Would have liked for him to make some more freaking free throws. 10 for 15. Not the best free throw shooting night. Comment in chat, but Milwaukee won't be bad if you have these picks. They'll pay double the players just to be in the top 10 in the East in 2028. It's not that difficult of a job. With what assets? With what assets? They don't have any assets. How are they going to get into the top 10 of the East if they can't be in the top 10 of the East right now with Giannis? Like, there's no way in my mind you have no assets. The only assets you end up with are from a Giannis trade, but then somehow you turn those pieces into a greater sum than what they are right now with Giannis. They're not going to get better from a Giannis trade, and they don't really have any other assets beyond that. So I don't really see the path to them just simply deciding to be a top 10 team in the East. How did you forget Kyle Kuzma? The rumor is right now they'd have to attach draft capital to Kyle Kuzma's contract. This is after they gave up an asset to get Kyle Kuzma. They gave up legitimate assets to get Kuzma and have to attach legitimate assets to get rid of him. Like, that was a straight up awful trade, but that's part of the reason they have no assets. They traded the assets for Dame. They still owe New Orleans assets from when they traded for Drew Holiday years ago. One of the assets now is to Atlanta, the pick this year. We'll do a tankathon, and we'll see where that pick ends up. But yeah, if they can't find a path right now with Giannis to be in a top 10 team in the East, I don't trust them to find a way to being a top 10 team in the East post Giannis. I don't trust that at all. Giannis don't really want to play for them. I think Cat and some role player can make them a top 10 spot. No team is top 10 in any conference with Karl Anthony Towns their best player, and I mean, you can't even have Cat and Miles Turner, can you? I mean, I guess you can, but Miles Turner's your second best player, or some role player is your second best player, or Ryan Rollins is your second best player. That's not a top 10 team in any conference. I don't know who you think Karl Anthony Towns is, but I mean, Giannis and a role player and Turner isn't top 10 in the East, so Cat definitely isn't. So yeah, I'm sitting on those Bucks picks, man. I'm sitting on those Bucks picks. The argument that, maybe they won't have as much value as McHale does right now, I'm completely fine with that. Because they could have much, much, much more value than what McHale has right now. We've talked about this in the past, if you've watched the channel the past few years. Like, when you're in the middle, and right now the Blazers have gotten in the middle, and maybe next year they can be, a 4 or 5 seed with Dame or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they can take that next step. But I don't really trust that next step to truly be to contention unless everything breaks in their favor. I don't think McHale over Grant is the difference maker in how big that step is, and that step being towards contention. If you can get a player that's good enough to make you have some level of confidence that you can contend the next 3 to 4 years, sure, absolutely trade the Bucks picks. That's the goal, trying to get to contention. But playing it safe and trading the upside from those picks for a guy like McHale, you're losing out on the upside of those picks potentially being the top of the draft, and you get a true key franchise player. And now you have a window, maybe a 10-year window where you contend post-Dame. Or those picks being good enough to finally trade for the star that gets you over the top before Dame's gone. So, yeah, this team needs upside is the main point here. This team needs a level of upside still to get over the hump. If not Mikal or OG, Trey Murphy? I wouldn't trade those picks for Trey Murphy either. The Blazers don't have to make a trade this year. They absolutely do not have to make a trade this year. I think they should trade for a shooter if they want to try to be competitive in a first round this year. Hopefully they get there. But that's a role player off the bench. There has been many other years, the past 6 years that we've had this channel, where the Blazers should have made trades and didn't. This is as close as this team will probably ever get, in my opinion, to being in a position where they don't have to make a move or shouldn't make a move. If the right move is out there, yeah, you're always ready to pounce, always be opportunistic with opportunities that might present themselves. That was what happened with the Deni Avdija trade. But barring something like that out of left field that would be unexpected, nobody expected the Avdija trade. I really like the Avdija trade. The Blazers are in a fine enough position to just sit where they're at and not do anything at the trade deadline. Caleb Love tonight, 11 points, 5 for 14 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. He had 5 assists, 2 turnovers. But not an efficient night from him. Needed him or Sharpe to step up and make shots, and neither of them did. They were 8 for 26 from the field. They were 2 for 13 from the three-point line. They shot 2 free throws combined between the two of them. This is with them playing a combined 60 minutes in this game, 2 free throw attempts. This is a night where the Blazers got 30 free throw attempts, but Sharpe and Caleb Love combined for 2 of them. 2 of them from Shaedon Sharpe. He made both of them. Cool. Not good. Love had some nice passes in this game. He also had a couple bad mental mistakes in this game. I thought the play where he tried to lob it to Sharpe with a defender in front of him that was taller than him, and him trying to throw it underhand was ridiculous. He threw it underhand. It got blocked out of bounds by Sam Hauser, and then he had the bad inbounds pass turnover. But, I mean, the Blazers can't run inbounds plays, whether it's from the baseline or the sideline. They had another turnover late in this game trying to inbound it from the sideline. They can't inbound from the sideline in the final minute of a game. We've learned that. Doesn't look like it's improving at all. It's a freaking travesty. But, like, you got a bigger player in front of you, okay? What has a better likelihood of success? Releasing the pass high or throwing it from your waist underhand? What's more likely to not get blocked by the bigger defender in front of you? The overhand pass. Like, get it above your head. Release it high. Get it up. You're throwing it to Shaedon Sharpe. You can throw it 12 feet in the air. He'll find a way to go get it and dunk it. So just release it high. Throw it high. You got a highlight play. Cool. You know what I mean? Maybe a momentum play. But no, you throw it underhand. I guess, I don't know, trying to be fancy. I don't understand why. But, like, that's the type of play where it's just like, there was numerous plays throughout this game, some of which I've already forgotten, but there was numerous plays throughout this game where I was just scratching my head as to what the thought process was behind some of the offensive plays. And that was one of them. Trevor says Caleb Love passes the lob correctly in Moda. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Robert Williams, 20 minutes, 6 points. He's 3 for 3, had 2 boards. Robert Williams should have more than 2 rebounds in 20 minutes. Plus 11. I don't know. Jeremy had a nice lob to him. I'll give Jeremy credit for his... he had 3 assists today, but that lob to Robert Williams, I think that was a set play. That was the only reason why Jeremy threw it. There is no way in a freelance situation Jeremy throws that pass. It was an after timeout play. Credit to Tiago or whoever drew up that play. Great pass, great dunk. But you look at how, like, everybody else finds Rob Williams on lobs except Shaedon Sharpe. Caleb Love can find Donovan Clingan on a lob. He had a good lob to Clingan. Oh, I didn't talk enough about Clingan. I'll circle back to him at the end of this. Drew Holiday throws lobs to bigs. Jeremy Grant threw a lob to Robert Williams. Will Shea ever learn the lob pass? Shea needs to learn that lob pass. Because there's times he comes off the pick and roll, his defender's trailing him, and he'll get going downhill a little bit towards the big man. And then he'll stop and shoot kind of like a sidestep mid-range shot instead of going downhill and making that big man choose. When you have an athletic big like Robert Williams as your pick and roll partner, and your defender goes over the top of the screen and trails you, you are in a 2-on-1 situation with the dropping big man. Your goal, especially if you're Shaedon Sharpe, is to make the dropping big man make a decision. Either take away my drive to the rim or take away the lob. If done correctly, when you have an athlete like Shaedon Sharpe and an athletic big like Robert Williams, the dropping big can't guard both of them. Too much athleticism. You just have to go downhill as the ball handler if you're Shaedon Sharpe and make that guy make a decision. Commit to the drive. When you're going up, okay, flick it over, it's a lob. It's a dunk. Don't go up with me. All right, I'm Shaedon Sharpe, I'm going to dunk it. But there's so many times he'll come off the screen in that situation and stop in the mid-range and kind of stand there, and it ends up being a mid-range shot. He will literally come off screens with an advantage and not take advantage of it. And it drives me crazy. This is the stuff with Sharpe that drives me crazy, that has me being harder on him than a lot of players, because it's just a bit silly to me. He loves the pocket pass, but he needs to learn how to throw a lob on a pick and roll. If he learned how to do that correctly, he'd be impossible to run drop scheme against. Too much space for too good of an athlete that can also throw the lob to the big. Good luck. But I feel like Sharpe bails out the defense a little bit too much. Eric says he's home. Eric, jump in collab cam and I'll bring you on here. But I have to start it. Okay, there we go. Never mind. I have to start it. Anyway, only player I have left to go through is Donovan Clingan. But what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Quick thoughts on this game, and then we can talk about Clingan.
My thoughts were pretty similar to yours. I was very frustrated with Sharpe in this game. It's just, I'm not president of the Sharpe fan club, but I'm also not a Sharpe hater by any stretch. I really like Sharpe, but I'm gonna call him out when he doesn't do well. And I feel like there's games like tonight where he's just it's just come on, dude, play basketball. What are you doing? You're just going through the motions, not taking care of the ball. You're just out there doing stuff. You have no killer mindset. You lose the ball or you fall over and turn the ball over, or you get a jump ball, which leads to a turnover. And then the next time you drive, you're just you're loose with the ball and it gets knocked out of your hands and goes way up in the air and you lose it. It just, I don't know. It's he doesn't respond well when he's getting punked. He just takes it, he's good enough. He's talented enough to survive that and play well despite that sometimes. But I feel like sometimes he just needs to wake up a little bit and just be a little bit more of a get mad that you're down 20 in 2 minutes. You've scored 9 points through 11 minutes in the quarter. Freaking do something about it. Like get mad and do something. It just like it feels like he doesn't care that much, sometimes, and it is
Yeah.
just so it's hard for me to believe that unless that changes, that he'll ever reach his full potential. Now, like I said, his where he's at right now is good enough to be a solid NBA player.
Is he
And
a
you
good
put,
starter right now?
I mean, like not tonight, but like overall, I think
Like
I
on the
think you could say,
season, if like on the season.
yeah, I think he's fine on the season. He's fine.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I don't think he's a good starter on the season. He has games where he's a good starter when he makes tough shots, but I think he's a little too dependent on making tough shots. I think the scoring volume is nice on a team that needs it, but if you look across the league and you see a guy and you just look at him statistically, true shooting percentage under 55%, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Averages more turnovers than assists. A okay at best defensive player, has moments where he gets a steal here and there, but like he's not like good defender, and has some decision making issues and has stretches where he can disappear a little bit. Like, do you view that as like a good player, a good starter? I feel like most people across the league don't view that as a good starter, and statistically, that's just like what Shaedon Sharpe has been this season. Now you can. The conversation always becomes like, okay, if he's used differently, if this was different, that was different. It's like all like hypotheticals, which I agree with. I've talked about how he needs to be better used off the ball, but at some point, it's just like, all right, it needs to positively produce. So like, this isn't a conversation about his future. He's 22, right? Like he still has time to figure it out, but I just think when he can make tough shots, he can contribute. When he's not making tough shots, I don't know if he's consistently positively contributing to winning games. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about it, but the stats I brought up, if you look across the league, like Cam Thomas is an insanely talented player. I think Sharpe's better than Cam Thomas, by the way, but Cam Thomas is an insanely talented player. Like his shot making talent, like the stuff that he can do on the basketball court, insanely, supremely talented. But that's different than being positively productive. Because Cam Thomas is a guy I don't believe is positively productive.
Yeah, I think for me, I do feel like he's made that jump defensively. I saw tonight on that end, at least, he was getting through some screens really cleanly on ball, and still got shoved. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Still got like he did everything right, and then gets shoved out of the way by Pritchard. Like you can't be that weak in your stance. But for the most part, I think he's doing a pretty good job moving his feet on defense, staying in front of someone. He's still kind of has to learn how to finish those possessions defensively. But between that and the steals, I feel like there is something you can point to say he has gotten better and isn't like a negative
Better.
on that end anymore, in my opinion. And so that alone leads me to believe that you can deal with some of the things you mentioned if that continues to trend in the right direction, because at least he's not, it's not like, well, like Anthony Simons, for example, like, you don't have a situation where it's like completely hurting you on defense if he's not scoring the ball. I think he's still been solid enough on that end to say at least he's contributing a little bit on the court. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if that's something that the light bulb can come on for in terms of like not just being an inefficient shooter that has to make tough shots, like you said, to be effective, or if that's just something that's going to be who he is, and hopefully he can make a little more than that eventually and stop turning the ball over. But I don't know. He's so weak. Like his body is so weak, and you're playing in a league where, I mean, if you're treated in a physical way, it's gonna really hurt you. So it's fine when you're getting out and running. I heard you talking about the Caleb lob, which is terrible. But
Yeah.
like that's fine. Like if you're in an up tempo offense, like we're supposed to be running, and you're getting him in space and stuff where it's not really a problem, I think it's fine. But we're seeing a lot of issues with him losing the ball when it's just against a set defense in the half court. And it's that's definitely something he's got to find a way to get stronger and to value possession of the ball more, because his turnovers are just like driving in and losing the ball, like, or falling over. It's not even like he's like a lot of players who turn the ball over a lot. It's because they have such high usage, but they're trying to thread a needle on a pass, and maybe it's not there, but you understand like what they're seeing. Like they might have just been a minute late or something, or a second late with it, or might have thrown the lob too high or whatever the case, tried to throw a lob underhand. But like you can see the process. Like, okay, he was looking for his big on the roll there, didn't hit him, but at least he had the right mindset. But like all of Shaedon's turnovers are just like, I'm going to dribble in, I'm looking to score. Oh, I lost the ball again. So that's where my issue is. It's not like, because remember what all those people are like, oh, the Blazers can't pass more because they'll just turn the ball over more, right? Mm-hmm. Those stupid people that would always say that whenever we said the Blazers needed more ball movement and stuff like that. Like it would be completely different if he was getting all these turnovers off of passes, because at least then you could justify it by saying, look, he's not a point guard, but you can see him trying to become one, and he's not there yet, but maybe the more he learns these passes, he'll be a step quicker, or a second quicker on the pass. He'll be a little bit more precise on a lob or something. He'll see the big a second earlier and dribble at the defender to make him commit, and then the lob's there, and he'll have that thought process there. But my issue is with him, I'm not seeing any of that. I'm just seeing him dribbling in and losing the ball every time, and not adjusting, and not really recalibrating, or not really trying anything new to add to that. So in addition to just getting stronger with the ball, I'd like to see more of a process where it's okay to make mistakes. It's just not when it's the same mistake over and over again. And it's not, even if you don't make those mistakes, you're still not making the reads you need to make at a high level to have that high of a usage rate.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with everything you said there. I'll go as far to say, if he was still turning over the ball 3 times a game, but it was him making the right read, he was just a little bit slow, I would be encouraged by that, because Absolutely. It would be him making a read that he struggles to make, just making the steps slow, right? There's like a growth process there, growing pains there, whatever. Like, I would be encouraged if he came off a pick and roll against drop scheme, had his defender trailing him, and he drove hard to the big man to get him to commit, and then tried to throw a lob and threw it 13 feet in the air out of bounds. I would be encouraged by that, because that would show the right thought process, decision making. It would just be obviously terrible execution of the actual pass itself, but that is much better than the turnovers that he has when he's missing a lot of these reads. So, he's 22. Everybody always says that. And yeah, he's 22. He still has time. I'm just a little discouraged by kind of the lack of growth there so far in his career. Especially this year, because he's had the ball more. And if anything, I think it might be a little bit worse than it was the past couple of years. Like, I don't feel like he's gotten better in that area this year. And that was something I questioned going into the season. And, some people didn't like that. But that was something I questioned, was his ability to read defenses correctly coming into the year. And I was hoping to see some progress this season, even if it wasn't the prettiest, just show some signs of growth. And right now, it just doesn't feel like we're seeing those signs of growth. So that's kind of like where I'm disappointed with him and where he kind of frustrates me.
I mean, all this stuff we're talking about was our main concerns about him, like mentally reading the game and stuff.
Yeah.
Coming out of Kentucky, I guess.
Coming out of Canada,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 games ago now, but it was early in the game. He did try to throw a lob to Clingan, and it was too high out of bounds. But, like, that's what you're talking about. Like, that's fine. Like, okay, great. You tried to throw the lob, but don't just because you made one bad pass doesn't mean you have to go 5 games without ever doing it again, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and he has thrown a couple of lobs, but it's been like a 2-on-1 fast break. It's like very obvious in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see him play with more nuance in the half court. We talked about it with like the crafty scoring moves when he can't get all the way to the rim on the last post-game show. And there's a lot of nuance that goes into like freeing up your big on the roll, getting the drop big to commit to you to open up that pass, and then reading on if the roll's being tagged. Like there's just passing nuance in the half court that I want to see more out of. You know, it's funny because I talk about how I want to see him throw a lob on a pick and roll more often. And then he throws a lob in transition, and people be like, "See, he threw a lob." Okay, it's transition. It's a completely different situation. Yeah. You know, it's you could be dribbling down the court for 4 seconds and see it developing those entire 4 seconds, right? But just the reading things in the half court, slowing down a little bit when he needs to. There's just a lot of nuance to learn. Where if he can learn it, you know, he has the physical tools, he has the gifts. Like, that's where the potential comes in. But, you know, we can only sit here and say he's this many years old for so long. At some point, he needs to start improving. So,
one of my things too is, okay, you've been watching Deni do exactly what you need to do for over a year and a half now. Like, at some point, especially these games where we're missing Deni, like, where is that mindset? Okay, what would he do in this situation? Okay, he's throwing the lob to the big there. I need to look for that first before I'm hunting the shot, or like I have to realize that I'm going to get the focal point of the defensive attention, and that if you get that it's that gravity we've talked about in the past, whether it's fake gravity or not. You have, like, in a game like this, you have the gravity as the player that the opposing team is going to try to shut down the most. And so you have to eventually learn how to, you know, navigate that to create a shot for others. Because if you drive in the paint and they're always collapsing on you, you always have an extra defender reaching at the ball or whatever, that means someone should be open. Someone's like, that man is coming from guarding someone. So like, you need to figure out who that is. And I feel like he's just dribbling right into those reach-ins, and he's not really recognizing that, oh, if I just like take a jab at him or act like I'm dribbling at him, make him commit with the reach, then bam, I got him. Like, all it takes is that second for them to get out of position, and then you either kick out to his guy, or, you know, that's when you have to communicate. Like, dude, if your guy comes like that, you need to dive to the basket, and I'll find you on that pass. Yep. But I don't really see any of that stuff happening. It's just I'm gonna get my shot. I'm gonna get my shot. I'm gonna get my shot. Oh, Deni's not here. I have to drive more. Yeah. I'm gonna continue to hunt my shot, and that isn't the right mindset, I don't think. And I don't think he's a good enough player to take that on. And I'm kind of surprised that after seeing Deni do it, that it's not at least rubbing off on you a little bit, or you're not recognizing, oh, okay, if this is the situation, like, he'd find Rob Will or Donovan on this play, so like I need to look for that first.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest worry is, like, there's an element of feel that goes into that maybe he doesn't have. Like, like, people will use Deni as an example, like, oh, look at how he's breaking out in year 5, late in year 5 to year 6, right? Like, Sharpe's in year 4, have an element of patience. Okay, sure. But, like, Deni always was a high feel player. That's why I liked him when we traded for him, is like, you get a 6'8", wing that can handle, pass, like has good feel for the game. Those are really good traits that can turn into a star caliber player, and that's exactly what we've seen. Like his feel for the game is very, very high on top of the size and speed. He has a lot of other good traits, right? Like that combine into the player that he is. It's just I don't really know if the feel's there, and I don't know how much you can teach the feel. But I do think to a certain extent, like there are reads that he could be making, that he should be making, that he could improve upon. I don't really understand why there's a lack of improvement there. I think for Deni, he has just phenomenal feel for the game. A guy like Drew has really good feel for the game, for example, as well. With the way he sets up some of his passes, the way he kind of shifts the defense when he has the ball in his hands, that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, and that's why I probably overrated a little bit, but that's why I like bigger front court players that can pass the ball when I'm evaluating prospects.
yeah.
Like Yoxel is someone who I really like. It just that passing feel that you're talking about, that's something that always jumps off the screen to me.
Yeah, I think for bigger prospects, when you have the passing feel combined with the ability to get to spots on the floor to get the defense to commit to you, like that's what Deni does. He gets downhill constantly and constantly gets the defense reacting to him, and then his playmaking comes alive. He makes good passes. He throws the lob. He knows when to slow things down. Like it's kind of like the movement with the dribble, being able to get to spots, plus the playmaking is like kind of what I look for when I scout playmaking prospects, because it's one thing to pass the ball really well in college, but it's another to be able to constantly
collab with them.
Yeah, you got collab cam. It's one thing to like throw impressive passes in college and be able to get to spots in college to make the passing come alive. It's a whole other thing to be able to get to those spots in the NBA against the best athletes in the world to make your passing come alive in the same way. So that's where like translation of a prospect to the NBA level comes into play, that whole conversation. That's kind of the trick when scouting some players, is figuring out like, okay, can this play up in the same way to the NBA level, or will they have to adjust to a different role that can still maybe make use of their high feel and playmaking, but it's in a different kind of context. Anyway, is collab cam any better now, Tori or Eric? Yeah, Eric just randomly like disappears like 1 to 2 times per hour, but I just make jokes about it and I can put it back up in like 5 seconds, so I've just turned it into a running bit. The final thing that I said was Shay, I kind of want your thoughts with, man. I'm starting to get frustrated with the mid-range attempts because he doesn't shoot well enough on them.
Yeah.
He's shooting 35.6%. No, he's shooting, I'll start here. From 10 to 16 feet, he's shooting 36.7%. Last year he shot 47%. Okay, so that's more than a 10% decrease. Okay, he shoots 10% of his field goal attempts from there. Okay, from 16 feet to the three-point line, he shoots 11% of his shots from there, and he shoots 35.6%. So essentially, he shoots 36% from 10 feet to the three-point line, and he takes almost 22% of his shots from there. Yeah, 10.4 and 11.4, like 22.8% of his shots from there. Last year, he shot better from 10 to 16 feet, but I just feel like it's not efficient enough, especially for a player that's athletic, that can get downhill and force the defense to rotate to him and then kick it out. It feels like sometimes he could spark some movements, some easier shots for other players if he drove a little bit more downhill, drew the defense and like knew when to kick out, or if I think he would be more efficient if he got to that floater within 10 feet, use some craft to get some easier shots around the rim. But it just feels like sometimes he settles a little bit for that mid-range shot, and it's not efficient enough right now.
Yeah, what was his on the other one last year, the longer one?
39.6%.
Yeah, so I think that's simply what it is. He thinks he's going to shoot the same as last year, and so he thinks if he just continues to shoot them, that'll go back up to his average last year. That's the only thing I can think of is why. I'm just trying to justify why he thinks he's doing it. But I agree, they have not been falling this year. He's been tough shooting them, especially when they're like he takes that long step back. And I don't know, man. I mean, if that's what the defense is giving you, it should be easy because then they're giving you space to hit those. But if you're not hitting them consistently, yeah, you shouldn't be taking a ton of them.
I'm curious what Deni's percentages are from these ranges.
I bet his percentage of shots from there is pretty low.
Yeah.
Because he does not take a ton of shots.
Yeah, field goal attempt, 10 to 16 feet, 7% of his shots. 16 feet to the three-point line is 3% of his shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty consistent with his career. Actually, the next closest, he's taking more shots from 10 to 16 feet this year than he ever has in his career by far. His career high in terms of like shot attempt percentage from that range was his rookie year. He shot 4.5%, and this year he's at 7.4% from 10 to 16 feet. So, but he's shooting 50% from there this year. And then 60 feet to the three-point line, he's shooting 43%. So that's the one thing is he always struggled 10 to 16 feet. For his career, he's 35%, but this year he's shooting a heavier diet of him, and he's shooting 50%. So Deni added that. And we've seen some like impressive flashes the past month and a half of him from that range. So like, yeah, if you're making half your shots from there, okay, cool. Like, make the defense pay for over. That's the thing though, is like a mid-range shot where the defense is overplaying your drive to the rim and turns and runs in front of you, and you can hit that mid-range at a good enough clip to kind of make them pay, maybe make them think next time. Like that's fine. When you're just settling for it and you're not shooting a good percentage, it's not the best shot selection. Like if it's late in the clock, sure, all right, go ahead. But there's just some times where I wish he wouldn't settle quite as much for the mid-range shot. Anyway, I didn't get to Clingan, man. Have you seen? Let me see if I can find it and put it up on stream. Actually, I don't think I. Yeah, let me find this. Okay. Shout out to Reese. Did you see Reese's graph regarding Clingan?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it up on the screen. All right. Let me go back and save it and put it as an image. One second. Okay. Let me know your thoughts on this graph, Eric.
Yeah, it's not good.
So I always say take defensive analytics with a grain of salt, but when they match the eye test, that's when you can say there's something there. And this matches the eye test for me. I don't know what has happened to him defensively, but this matches the eye test. Does it not?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that drastic.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty drastic.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, like, I expected it to be somewhat of a decline, but that's crazy.
But, like,
that's like going from one of the best defenders to one of the worst.
Yeah, but, like, it was declining a little bit, but then sharp decline as of, like, 11 to 12 games ago. That kind of coincides with when I feel like he started moving a little bit worse.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now, yeah.
Even when he runs, sometimes he runs and it's like, this dude is hurting. Like, he looks like he's hurting when he runs. And maybe that's me, like, overthinking it because it's already on my mind where I wouldn't notice it. But I don't know, man. He's not the elite rim protector I thought he'd be this season.
Well, there was that stat. It's like points saved per 100 possessions. And he was number one in it last year. And like 20 or so games into this season, he was by far number one.
Mm.
And now he's fallen. He's like barely in the top 10 now. Like
Yeah.
it's gone way down. I don't know, man.
I don't think he's. Just something to me says he's not fully healthy.
Yeah.
And that's complete speculation. I have no idea. But
Well, I've been speculating
him,
about it for a while.
Yeah, and he tweaked some things earlier in the season. Like maybe it's the culmination of minutes, NBA season. Like I don't know, but he doesn't look 100% to me.
Yep, I agree. Man, he was like there was like 3 plays in a row where he was just getting punked by Amari Williams in that first half and not getting offensive rebound, out of position. Like this is not Donovan Clingan. Like I don't know. I'm not really worried about it because, like, I mean, you don't just go from being like a great defender to forgetting how to play defense and being in the wrong position all the time. So that's why I agree with you that it has to be something like explainable. But yeah, I don't like the way he's been moving for the past couple of weeks.
And to be fair, he, despite being a second-year player and Amari Williams being a rookie, he's 2 years younger than Amari Williams.
That's true.
So, but yeah, he's getting moved around a little too easy. Defensively, it's like he doesn't get off the ground to block shots. He had 4 blocks today. I need to watch him. Back. I'm going to watch back his blocks today and see how high it seems like he's jumping on all of them. I'm going to watch his feet. That's what I'm going to do. I wish I could share clips on the stream. That would be fun. Oh, he had 5 blocks today, according to NBA.com. He finally has a high block game. This is maybe like the wrong time to talk about it. But he had that block on Kada at the start of the game, but he jumped like 2 inches off the ground. He just kind of turned around and it was like right there. All right, 2 inches. He had that block of Derek White. Bro, he didn't even jump. Like I'm not saying he's supposed to be getting high off the ground at all, but he blocked Derek White where he basically didn't jump. Which is like great, cool, but the point of this is like there's a lot of plays where it feels like he's not getting as good of contests or shots that he could be blocking or would block last year because he's like not getting off the ground, even compared to the way he did last year when he was in worse shape, which is what's so confusing to me. He blocked Jaylen Brown when Jaylen Brown went into him and he just backed up. He didn't jump on that one either. He had a good block of Kada to start the half. He got like 5 inches off the ground there, maybe a little bit more. How is that a block? He blocked Derek White by reaching straight in front of him while he was standing. Yeah, so like he got 3 blocks today where he didn't jump, one where he like basically didn't jump, and one where he did. I don't know. There's just so many times where he'll contest, but he won't even like jump or extend, and that's not who he was at UConn, and that's not who he was for the most part last year. And it feels like it matches up with the eye test with that graph I show, like some of the advanced numbers where his defensive impact isn't at quite the same rate. But it's like, is that just him trying so hard to stay out of foul trouble that he's basically nuking his defensive impact a little bit? Maybe that's not the best word to use on YouTube. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. Or is it him not being 100%? I think it's one of those two things. I don't know which.
Yeah, or maybe a combination of both. But yeah, hopefully he figures it out because we need that defensive anchor, and he just hasn't been that the last couple weeks.
Yeah. But like the last take I'm going to agree with is Kenneth in chat saying, no, he's just not very good. Defensively, this dude was one of the best defensive bigs I've ever seen and was one of the best defensive college players I've ever seen for a team where he won 2 national championships. Like, that's the last take I'm agree with is he's just not very good defensively.
He had one of the best rookie defensive seasons.
Yeah.
Like it ranks up there and was one of the not all-time greats, but pretty high up there.
Yeah, which is why I'm not necessarily worried. I just don't know. I just don't understand it. But yeah, offensively the shot's kind of gone away. I hate to say it, but the shot doesn't look the same as when he was hitting it. For the month of January, he's shooting 27% from 3, which is what he shot last year. Which is what he shot at the start of the season. In December, he shoots 52% from 3, and it's oh my goodness, we might have something here. It's on 2 attempts a game. It's not the most volume, but it's something. Oh, man. And then he started January, he was 0 for 3, then 3 for 5, 2 for 4, 2 for 6. And after that, you know what's funny is he has a streak of 5 games in a row of making a 3, but he's 1 for 7, 1 for 2, 1 for 2, 1 for 4, 1 for 5.
So he's only made 1, yeah.
Yeah. In 3 of these last 5 games, he shot at least 50% of his field goal attempts have been from 3. It's a little too high unless he's making them closer to the rate he was making them in December.
Yeah. Man. The other thing that this might contribute to, I feel like the drop keeps getting lower and lower and further away from the ball, and I feel like he's not able to get to if a defender turns a corner off a screen and pulls up from the free throw line, I feel like he's too far back to even contest those, which he was really good at contesting last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
but it's really hurting sometimes if the defender that's on the perimeter gets picked by a screen and they're getting wide open shots either from 3 or around the perimeter or in the mid range because our bigs are so far back. I mean, it's both of them. So
yeah. I think him and then Tamani struggles at times defensively this year, and Clingan struggles lately is it's not the only reason why the defense isn't quite as good as we expected, but it's 2 big reasons why the defense isn't quite as good as we expected. Adjusted defensive rating after today. Hey, they're 16th. I mean, they held them to 102. The defense has been better lately. Offense is 20th now, by the way. So starting to get closer to kind of what we expected, right? Or kind of what we were hoping for. Yeah. I don't know. Tamani's defense has been better lately, I feel like. He's still drawing a lot of offensive fouls. He's not getting lost gambling as much. I don't know how you feel about his defense lately, but
I thought Tamani was pretty good on defense today.
I mean, today, yeah.
He drew, 4 offensive fouls or something like that?
Yeah. Jaylen Brown only had 20 points. He averages closer to 30.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I thought he was fine tonight. Pretty good, actually.
Yeah. His defense has been better lately. And coincides with Clingan's defense getting worse, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway. Any other players you want to quickly touch upon?
Not really. Screw this game.
Yeah, screw this game. Okay. We'll talk a little bit about Giannis trades and we'll be done. Right now, there's a lot of noise that, the Bucks aren't ready to trade Giannis, but a lot of teams expect that they might get there before the trade deadline. There's people saying they think Mark Spears, I think it was Mark Spears, said he thinks Giannis has played his last game in a Buck uniform.
Mm.
And then there's the rumor that he wants New York. Yeah, but maybe he'd want Miami or Golden State. He last year is basically the last year on his deal. He has a player option the year after that he can easily decline if he wants to. And I mean, he can make a max after that, so why wouldn't he? So essentially, last year's the last year of his deal. Do you have thoughts on this? Because right now it just sounds like a lot of smoke, but I'm waiting to see the fire.
I don't know because I feel like with how these last few games, now he's hurt, but you know, uh, a week or two ago when he's booing his home crowd, and then him just coming off the court and announcing he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks without any sort of diagnosis or anything. And then there's like multiple clips going around where he just gives up on plays, doesn't even make it past half court on possession. I think if you're the Bucks, you have to move him. I think it's like I think they wanted to make it work. I think they until like a few weeks ago, I think they were still committed to try and get whatever player they could around him to try and salvage this season and their relationship with him. But I feel like it's gotten past the point where it's going to be savable. So I think if I'm the Bucks, I think you have to move him by the deadline.
Gotcha. So, it's a lot of smoke around New York. Blazers keep getting tied in by people
Uh,
with the trade idea of giving up Jeremy Grant in the 2028 and 2030 Milwaukee swaps to get back Mikal Bridges. The swaps in a three-team trade going back to Milwaukee to help the Knicks get Giannis. I'll do a poll chat if you want to vote whether or not you would do that trade. But Eric, what are your thoughts on that trade?
yeah, I'm with you. I don't like it. Yeah, well, so I know I heard you talking about people mentioning Drew Holiday to New York. I don't know if you specifically mentioned this, but Mark Stein's reporting that New York has called the Blazers and are very interested in acquiring Drew Holiday. As about an hour ago, he reported that. Um, yeah, I'm right there with you, Tori. If Giannis is traded, those picks are about to become. I mean, I think you and I went through this. Where this was a while ago, but we talked about like CBS Sports had they ranked all the future picks owed, and weren't we like number one? One of those Bucks picks was number
Yeah.
one. Um, and uh, man, that's with Giannis right now, and when they had Dame and all that, like, so if they trade Giannis, why would we help a team get Milwaukee their picks back? Like, I don't understand doing that unless we are getting a bona fide star all NBA type player. And now you can argue, I'm sure some people will argue that Cat is an all NBA player. Whatever. I don't think that's good enough for us to give up those picks.
Also, I don't want the defense with the 36-year-old Dame off an Achilles tear and Karl Anthony Towns at probably a center spot.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. Especially if you play Sharp with that lineup, you're kind of giving up a lot on defense.
Yeah. So I mean, we hold the cards here. Like, we don't have to settle for whatever trade to make the Knicks get Giannis because they need our picks that we have for the Bucks. Like, why are we helping them out? Like, I would just say, screw it. We want Giannis. If you want your picks back, you have to trade us Giannis. Otherwise, I'm not listening to you unless you're giving us like a top 10 player in the NBA because those picks are too valuable. And I saw a comment, I think it was from Lazy Panda earlier, that said, well, like, we don't need more draft picks in the future. We need players that can help us now on the court or whatever. Well, if Giannis is traded to New York or whoever he's traded to, Golden State, and how much more valuable do you think those picks are going to get? Like, if you don't see the value increasing, I mean, I think that's kind of I don't know. Like it's just that's not really a good evaluation of the value there. Like it's those picks are crazy, man. And the more they give up, or the more they trade, and if it's not with us being involved with it, I mean, short of maybe getting a pick or two back from other teams, but like Atlanta, like you mentioned, owns their pick from New Orleans
They wouldn't
potentially.
trade that
So
unless they get Giannis.
yeah, so uh, there's no really avenue. Like maybe they pull off a trade like the Blazers trade for Deni. Like maybe they pull off that level of a trade and somehow salvage their rebuild and all this kind of stuff. But that roster is not good, and they don't have the picks that the Blazers potentially have right now. Now maybe they get some in the Giannis trade, but the Blazers, were able to tank several years and get players. Now it might not have. The jury's still out whether that will lead them to contention or not, but the Bucks don't have a lot of avenues for improving their roster once they trade Giannis. And even if they go the cap space route or whatever, they could maybe do some unbalanced trades and pick up some assets. If they're really smart and frugal, they could do like what OKC did for years and, take on bad contracts for picks and stuff like that. But they're going to have to really thread a needle and like hit some sort of lucky or home run type trade, like the Deni trade for us, if they're even going to be mediocre or like average.
Yeah.
And so like I would just look at those picks like I am not giving these up for anything, unless you're talking about a player that's in his prime or younger and on a good contract and is like a good fit with our core. Like I would just hold on to him then. Like there's no reason to panic and trade them right now. Just I think they're going to continue to get more and more value. And if you have those assets, the next time a different star comes up, because I also saw that argument like, well, who are we going to use them for then? Trey Murphy or whatever. And it's fine to look at it that way, but in my opinion, there's not a player on the market right now. John Morant, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG, Trey Murphy. Those guys aren't worth the Bucks picks in my mind, and I'm not trading them. I'm just going to keep them.
You have a 5-year window for that guy to become available. You don't have to trade the picks now. You have the picks through 2030, right? So you got 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, right? Only the last 3 years those picks innovate. You can even draft a player if your team's good enough who doesn't like play a whole lot, but who still maintain a ton of value across the league and package them with the Bucks picks. Like you don't have to rush that type of trade right now. I understand wanting to win a ring for Dame, but the beautiful thing about Dame returning was you didn't have to sacrifice any of the future to get Dame back. And yeah, if you can get a contender, like a true contender with Dame, yeah, you probably do it, as long as it has enough longevity, past the next 2 years as well. That's why I like the idea of trying to trade for Giannis and trying to convince him to re-sign. If you don't feel like you have any chance of re-signing him, then I understand not trading for Giannis and keeping the Bucks picks instead. But my hope is that like maybe Dame, Drew, you got Drew here, like maybe you could trade for him, go on a run this season, convince him to sign an extension, whatever. Like outside of building a contender in the next couple of years, they should sit on those picks. The only hypothetical I could see where Portland should play ball with New York and Milwaukee is if there's another team involved in it. And the other team is getting Karl Anthony Towns and maybe Mikal Bridges and is giving up a player that is good enough for Portland to justify trading those picks back. The thing is, I have no idea what team would trade like a better player for those two guys. I mean, too bad Nico Harrison traded Luka Doncic at last year's trade deadline, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, like is there a team you could flip Cat to in that trade and we can get somebody that is worth giving up the Bucks picks for that we wouldn't normally think is available, but a team might come out of left field and trade said player in order to get a guy like Karl Anthony Towns?
I don't know how they make this work financially, but would you this is gonna drive some people crazy, but I'm asking you specifically, Tori. Would you consider it for Austin Reeves?
He's so good, man. I just like the fit with Dame defensively is not good.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a guy that's averaging 27 points, 6 assists, 5 boards. Like, he's a true star.
Because there's some stuff with his contract, like maybe the Lakers would be willing to move on to him for some guys who are guaranteed.
Yeah. I just think the play for the Lakers is you have his capital on the books, you have lots of cap space, you use some of the cap space this offseason. But, like, Reeves is the caliber of player. I just don't know about the fit. One name that I don't think would be available, and also he's like a little on the older side. He's 31, so I guess it's, fine. But I don't even know how the money would work in this scenario either. But, like, could the Pacers be intrigued by Cat plus McHale for Siakam in a piece? And, like, maybe a pick, not their pick this year, but, like, or would they not want to shake things up that much given that they made Game 7 of the finals with a Halliburton and Siakam-led team? It's probably more likely that, but they are in desperate need of a center, and freaking Halliburton with a shooting big like Cat.
But you give up the Bucks picks?
No, I probably wouldn't give up the Bucks picks for Siakam. But, like, basically that's like the line I'm thinking where, normally Siakam wouldn't become available, but maybe if you're talking about, like, Cat and McHale, all of a sudden some doors open that otherwise wouldn't be open. That's like an example of one. But, I mean, Siakam this year, it's a bad team, but he's putting up 24, 7, and 4. Like, he might not make the All-Star game because they're so bad. I mean, as a number 2, he's like 27 and 3.5 assists. Like, yeah, that's not good enough for giving up the Bucks picks probably, but I'd rather have Siakam than McHale.
Tristan has a member for 23 months message. Siakam, Banchero, and Bam could be one of those guys. Bam's intriguing. I think maybe play a little bit next to Clingan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bam's shooting the 3-ball well this year and has been playing next to Kalel. I don't see Orlando moving off Banchero, although,
I mean, he's been analytically really bad.
I don't know if I'd want
Portland. They're better with
but that's the type of talent you're hoping to take a chance on with the Bucks picks at the top of a draft, And he's from the Northwest, so.
Well, we also Elizabeth Allen says you aren't getting Paula for 2 picks. Those picks still have better odds of being 10 and 3. I mean, we do have their protected 2028 first. We could add.
I mean, basically the question. Well, you'd be trading, I think, Cat and McHale there for Banchero plus.
Yeah.
I don't know, Bane. I don't know why they would do that though. I'm trying to think of a salary that's not as good as Bane that they would be willing to throw in that would make it work. Where you could have like Franz, McHale, Suggs, Cat. I actually like the synergy on that team a lot more. Anthony Black. I actually like the combination of guys there better around Franz. You still have Bane. Defensively, a great team, but you have more offensive firepower there. But like the question would be, would Milwaukee just want Banchero or the Bucks picks in that sort of hypothetical?
Mm-hmm.
They'd
Well, I mean,
probably want Banchero plus like filler. I don't know. I have no idea. But like that's the thing is like this is where we can get creative, I guess, in ways that are a little weird. But
yeah.
it's probably going to be a bunch of stuff that's like pretty unrealistic. But the Luka trade was unrealistic last year. You know what I mean? Like if we're talking about players like Cat and McHale, that's kind of a different conversation than your normal trade conversation.
I mean, let's go through it. So, I mean, I guess you take Jaylen Brown in that situation, but the Celtics aren't trading him. So the Celtics are pretty much out.
Yep.
They're not trading Tatum either.
Yep.
But I mean, those are two players I think that would qualify for, like, if you get either of those guys for those picks, I would. But the Nets don't have anyone worthy of trading picks for, in my opinion. At least all of them, right?
Yeah.
The Knicks are already talking about 76ers. I mean, what are we going to trade for Embiid? I mean,
no, he doesn't have that sort of value.
Yeah. But I mean, that would, I guess, I mean, I don't know.
Too injury
I mean, if you could,
if you're gonna trade, if you were gonna trade the Bucks picks for Embiid, you might as well just say no to that and trade for AD and keep the Bucks picks.
Yeah, true. Man, like BJ Edgecombe, like I don't see the 76ers trading him, but like that might be someone you think about trading some of the picks for. But
I just don't see them wanting Cat, and McHale isn't enough to get VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah.
But like I do like that line of thing. Like, is there a young, good player that somehow you could get that you normally wouldn't be able to get by trading those Bucks picks that can contribute now, but also contribute to your future, has star upside?
I don't really know if there's anyone on the Raptors. Like, I mean, I guess you could say Scotty Barnes, but I don't know if the Raptors would want Cat and McHale, but
and I don't like Scotty's fit here.
Yeah.
Nobody else intrigues me.
Yeah, there's no one on the Bulls I give those picks up for. Cavs, I mean, I guess I'd do it for Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley's intriguing, but I mean,
why are they gonna? They're also a team where it's like, why would they help the Knicks?
Yeah.
Get Giannis. Mobley is interesting.
I don't know if he's.
But why would they trade him? Like Mobley, would they trade Mobley plus Hunter for Cat and McHale?
Maybe.
And would you trade the Bucks picks for Mobley? The freaking rim protection with Mobley and then who Donovan Clingan's supposed to become would be pretty insane.
Yeah.
And if both can shoot, like, that's very intriguing. That's also a team that might match up pretty well with the Spurs and the Thunder. Like, are the Cavs desperate enough, given their struggles this year, to, trade Mobley and Hunter for McHale and Cat? Maybe. And I would rather have Mobley and Hunter than McHale and Cat, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help our shooting, really, but
yeah,
Hunter's okay, but
I mean, we're trading Grant plus Thibault plus Rob Will in some combination, So you're losing Grant's shooting. Atlanta's not going to do it unless they get Giannis. I don't think they're going to do anything big unless they get Giannis. They're just going to sit and draft Duran Peterson, or whoever.
I mean, the Pistons, I don't see them doing that.
The Knicks? They're the biggest challenger to the Pistons in the East outside of Boston. So, Pistons wouldn't do it unless they get Giannis. Hornets.
You mentioned the Pacers. Hornet.
Hornets kind of
I mean,
intriguing.
they got Brandon Miller emerging right now. Like, I don't know why you need
No, I don't think they'd trade Miller.
McHale. Like, yeah,
I think for
Cat's an interesting. Yeah,
But I think Cat doesn't make sense if LaMelo's still your. I mean, offensively it makes a ton of sense, but defensively I don't think it makes sense if LaMelo's still your point guard.
so Bam, but I don't think Miami does it. But that's someone I would consider maybe.
Does Washington say we're going to grow all the way up and trade for Cat?
No.
So they have Trae Young, Koulibaly or Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Well, who are we getting?
Koulibaly? I don't know. Trey Johnson. I don't know. They don't make sense. But also they didn't make sense for Trae Young. So, okay, in the West.
The Nuggets don't make sense. Cat back to the Timberwolves.
I do think the Spurs make sense for Cat.
Spurs, yeah.
They need shooting. Like, you can cover for Cat with Wemby.
So who you're getting though?
I mean, they're not going to trade any of their young players, but like, is there a world where you can get a better return of draft capital than two of the Bucks picks? San Antonio might. Well, actually, I don't think they're in that good of a position draft pick wise, but like that's also another avenue, right? Is can you get better draft capital by giving their picks back and getting draft capital from somewhere else that's even better?
Mm-hmm.
The Rockets have the Nets pick next year, although I'm not a huge fan of next year's draft. But maybe, I mean, Cat doesn't make sense there. I don't even think McHale makes sense there. I think Drew makes more sense there than either of those guys, just from a fit standpoint, not necessarily a value standpoint. But, like if they were the team to trade for Giannis, I could see Portland trading the picks back and getting, like, Houston has really good future picks. Like trying to get more draft capital plus like a player like a Tari Eason or something like that. You know what I mean? But that only makes sense if Giannis is going to Houston.
Yeah. Clippers don't have anyone we're trading those picks for, in my opinion.
Kawhi.
Good night, Dad.
Yeah. Maybe it was like 6 years ago.
The Suns have Dylan Brooks. We could trade the picks for Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
Timberwolves. Yeah, are they going to undo the Cat trade, get Julius Randle? The Warriors. We get another star that's out for the year and a bunch of Warriors picks. Well, that's if Giannis was headed there. Yeah, there's nothing on the Warriors that makes sense. Grizzlies are tanking. Mavericks are, AD, I guess. But I feel like we can trade for him. Picks. Yeah, without having to trade those picks. Kings don't have anybody. Jazz don't have anybody. Pelicans don't have anybody worth it. Some people might say Trey Murphy, and maybe the Pelicans would want Eric come back. Maybe the Pelicans would want Cat shooting next to Zion if they still want to try and make it work with Zion. Maybe you can get Trey Murphy out of that, but I don't like the idea of trading the picks for Trey Murphy.
I can maybe be talked into it, but yeah. I'm sure some people will say Jaren Jackson, but
I'm not, no.
I'm not high on his foot either. Yeah.
No. No, thank you on that. Who are the teams that made a little bit of sense for us?
Well, it was the Cavs with Mobley maybe.
If he's gettable, yeah. And was there anybody else? Magic, if they have any willingness to move off Bankero, plus I don't even know what the other salary would be for Mikhail and Cat.
Would,
but also does Bankero fit with Deni? Like, yeah, I don't know. You're kind of recreating the Magic combination there.
Would you? Oh, let me see where this is at right now. Would you, would you consider trading the Bucks picks for the Pacers pick right now?
Unprotected?
Yes. All of them unprotected. Would you trade all three for the one Pacers pick this year?
That's a great question. Let me do a chat
I know
poll.
Indiana probably wouldn't do that, but
let me do a chat poll. Well, if
this draft sucks, what are you talking about, dude?
What are you talking about? That is the worst take of the entire season. Congratulations. I didn't know that you could come up with a take that bad, but you just did it. So, props.
Every single draft analyst on social media and stuff is saying like they cannot believe how crazy this
is.
This
is like a generational draft. My bad, I got confused with 2027. How are you confused?
It's fine. At least
how you got confused what year it was?
Yeah.
Hey man, I don't know. Yeah, it's 2026. 2026. Yeah, 2027 is not good. I don't think. I'll just say, okay. Do you remember Hoop Summit when I was like, I don't trust Nate Ament as a prospect?
Yeah.
And is the way he's struggling. Like I could tell at Hoop Summit that he was going to struggle a bit. I've never watched Tyron Stokes play in person, but I do not buy that he will be like a top 3 pick. I don't. Oh,
he might be a top 3 pick just because that draft. But
even with that draft, I don't buy his game at the NBA level.
Dude, I kind of agree. I've watched a couple. I actually watched a full game of his, and obviously there's all kinds of highlight reels every time he plays. But I came away thinking the same thing. Like this dude is like all show, and it's not. There's not. He's gonna be like Shaedon Sharpe a little bit when he plays against actual NBA players or better players.
I don't know if he's a particularly great shooter, and also I don't think he's a particularly great athlete. I don't know. I need to watch more of him, but
he's a pretty good athlete. But
the way he moves, though, you know me, I'm a movement pattern guy. There's something about these like 6'7" guys that move well enough to be able to like have some skill and move well at 6'7" to dominate high school that then it doesn't translate up.
Also, like, it's crazy. He'll make like a free throw and celebrate like he won a championship, like down the court and not play defense. Like,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, he feels off to me. I'll do a chat poll though. Would you trade the Bucks picks for this year's Indiana pick? Yes or no? And then we'll do a tankathon and see if our decision to do it paid off. If we could end up with a top 3 pick from this, here's the gamble for me. If we end up with a top 3 pick in this class, yes. If we don't end up with a top 3 pick in this class, probably not. But also, Kingston Flemings is number 4 on my board. I would probably do it for him.
Yep, we got Caleb Wilson up there too.
I like Kingston Flemings. Yeah, I like Flemings more than Caleb Wilson.
I did. Dude, that's funny. I have Flemings 4th on my board.
Well,
too.
Yeah. I've watched bits and parts, but I watched that whole Houston game where he dropped like 42. It was just like, it was like watching a number 1 pick play, but he's the number. I think he'll end up being the number 4 pick. But also in this draft, like if you want a future potential starting guard replacement, like there's going to be guards that would go in the lottery of normal drafts that go in the back end of the first round if they don't go back to college and cash out NIL. Like the Christian Andersons of the world. Mikael Brown could fall. Like he's been super inefficient this year, but that dude has a ton of upside. Like it's a wild draft class. All right, so chat says we do it. I would. I don't know.
So you got to do it now. You got to do it now because you don't know where you don't.
Well, what are their odds right now? The thing is,
Well,
then
they're
they start.
second.
The thing is then they start trying to win games, and they're the pace. They have some pieces there. Then they stop tanking, and then we get screwed. Can we do it like not top 5 protected? Or if it doesn't fall in the top 5, we get our Bucks picks back?
No, you can't. Yeah, that's the risk you have to take.
I don't know, man.
Fuzzy says, just ran a tankathon. PDX moved to 2, Pacers 3. Can you imagine that, Tori?
Jeez.
We lose in the play-in and move up to 2, and we got the Pacers pick, so we're 3-2. And we get 2 of Dybonsa, Boozer, or Peterson.
Would you do it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I would love to have a top pick in this draft.
So we can fall to 6, and so they can take Jaden Quaintance or Koa Pete.
I mean, that's the risk. That's the risk for sure.
If we fell to 6, we'd be taking Keaton Wagler, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Although that guy, dude, I told you that dude is something. He's now top 10 on Tankathon. Do you think he's gonna go top 10?
I think yeah.
Do you? So did you watch that game where he dropped 46?
I saw he had like 40 something. Yeah.
Did you see any of it?
I mean, I saw parts of it, but
he's
I didn't
like
watch the whole
6'6", crazy smooth, and but he's not like bursty, but he's just like crazy smooth. I don't know. He's one of those guys that's like my movement pattern thing. I don't know what to think, because 6'6" and shoots the lights out. But he's not explosive. He just kind of like gets to his spots. He'll do it behind the back and hit a contested 3, and then he'll be 9 for 11 from 3. He'll go off the dribble, put his shoulder into somebody a little bit, then make a little floater over them. I don't know, but he's really good. I don't know how high to go with him. All right, I probably honestly, I probably wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. I respect that.
It depends on what happens with Giannis. If they kept him, I would wait until the off season and then see if I can do that trade after the lottery, right?
They're not doing it after the lottery if they get top 3 though.
I mean, if you can get him Cat and McHale with Siakam and Halliburton, and I don't know what salary they trade out, but you had
They're not trading.
you take a team that was 1 win away from a championship and swap Miles Turner out for Cat and then add McHale.
Yeah, they're just taking a star young player. It is Indiana. They're going to be cheap and go for the rookie versus adding Cat and McHale's salary.
All right, let's hold on. Let's do a Tankathon sim.
Can you imagine though if we had someone else's pick and we move up into the top 4 and they're also in the top 4?
I know.
Like,
could you imagine doing that trade for the Indiana pick and also having the best of New Orleans and Milwaukee going to Atlanta and our own pick?
Well, that seems insane, but New Orleans just a few months ago had both of those picks and traded both of them. So,
well, Indiana's was top 3 protected.
Yeah.
And they had no, I don't know, like they made that trade in the middle of the finals, right?
Something like that.
So like they were thinking Indiana's in the finals right now, like that pick's going to be, between 25 and 30 next year, like, yeah. So, but if we had that combination, we'd have a 29% chance of the number 1 overall pick and like probably like an 80% chance of the top 4. That's crazy. All right, let's wait. What's in front of Eric? Hold on. Wait, is this display capture better? Oh, that display capture is broken. Okay, fine. I'll use this one. All right. Portland 13th best odds. Let's simulate this, and then I'll tell you whether I do the trade. Chicago, Portland at 13. San Antonio via Atlanta at 12. Dallas at 11, moving down a spot. I believe OKC just moved up again. Yeah, they did. Milwaukee at 10. Memphis at 9. Charlotte at 8. Sacramento at 7. Atlanta via New Orleans at 6. And Washington at 5. Okay, I'll do the trade. Oh, Eric got collab cammed. Let me fix the collab cam. Man, the collab cam's giving me fits tonight. He's not even showing up. I don't know where he went. Rest in peace. That lotto stream would be the greatest stream of all time. Absolutely. Okay. No, he's back.
What happened?
I don't know what happened, but you're back. All right, at 4.
Who's the top 4?
Indiana. At 3 is Utah. At 2 is OKC via the LA Clippers. And at 1 is Brooklyn. I would not do this trade if I knew this was going to be the result, because it would just piss me off doing this trade to still be picking behind OKC. I would only do the trade if it was going to be top 3, but the odds of it being top 3 is like 37% or something like that off the top of my head, 35%. So,
what were you saying about one of the picks being top 3 protected?
The Pacers one.
Which one?
The one that New Orleans traded back to them. This year's pick that New Orleans traded back to them.
So the Pacers, I don't think that's true. Because then the Pacers wouldn't get their pick if it was in the top 3.
What? That makes no sense. It basically was Indiana got it if it was 1-3, and then New Orleans got it if it was 4-30, and New Orleans traded the 4-30 back to Indiana. I don't understand what you mean. Like
for the 2026 pick?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Tankathon have that, or Real GM say that?
Because Indiana has their own pick now, so that's just their own pick. So there's no need for it to be labeled as protected to themselves. Like, it's their own pick.
Oh, you're saying it canceled the protections when they traded back.
Yeah.
I thought you
Yeah.
meant
No.
when New
Indiana.
Orleans traded it back to them, they protect like they did with the Milwaukee pick
No.
that they had
Yeah.
unprotected that they traded us. Yeah.
No. Indiana owed it to New Orleans top 3 protected, and then New Orleans traded it back.
All right.
Yeah.
I get it.
Got you. Okay, now I see where you're confused. I was like, whoa, what?
I thought you meant like
yeah.
when New Orleans traded us that pick when it didn't go into the lottery, and we got the Milwaukee 2025, Milwaukee traded it to New Orleans unprotected, but then New Orleans traded it to us top 4 protected. So New Orleans still got it, and it created some confusion for a while. But now, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It would be fun to have a pick in this year's draft. So would you do the trade? Did you answer
that? I probably would just for the fun of having this year.
Winning championships is more fun than anything, all right? That's where my mind is wired. I want to freaking get the monkey off my back and win a championship with one of my freaking teams. I am pissed that Seattle's in the freaking Super Bowl. Anyway.
We'd also have, we'd have a 14% chance of very likely adding one of the final pieces to becoming a contender, you know?
If we're in the top 3.
If we had the Pacers pick, yeah.
If we're in the top
3. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We'd have a 14% chance. Is that better than the chance we trade that pick for a better player?
I don't know. But like 3 years in a row of Milwaukee, like I feel like there's just as much of a chance for one of those picks to be top 3, and then you get the other 2 picks too. It's really tempting, but I'd say no.
Yeah.
Tristan says, Mariners will never win it, so you're relying on the Niners and the Blazers. The Mariners got closer this past year than the Blazers have gotten since I was like 4 years old, so I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway. Mariners were like 1 hit away from the World Series.
Hey, you're turning 30 this year, huh?
30. Yep. 30 years, no rings.
Nice. Well, you were born just after the 49ers last Super Bowl.
Yep. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And now the Seahawks get an automatic, easy championship. Like, it's disgusting. Why couldn't, if I was a Seahawks fan, the Niners would have won like 2 Super Bowls in the last 15 years, and the Seahawks would have won none. I guarantee it. Like, don't know. So, yeah, this is where my mind's at. Freaking winning a championship. I'm getting old. Easy championship. We had to beat the Rams. They're a great team. The Niners practice squad beat the Rams. But yeah, it's rough out here. How can you be a Mariners fan and not Seahawks? My dad was a Niners and a Yankees fan, but I never watched baseball with him. I did watch a ton of football with him growing up, so I kept the Niners. Then when I moved up here after stuff happened, then I became a Mariners fan. So, yeah.
I'm not a fan of any Seattle teams.
Are you one of those Portlanders that hates Seattle? Deep in your blood. There's a lot of people like that. It's super weird to me.
I don't give a crap about that. I do hate that people think we should have to root for Seattle teams because we're in Portland. We're completely different cities, 3+ hours apart. Yeah.
I do love Seattle. I think Seattle's absolutely beautiful.
I like going to Seattle too.
But I'm not from there, so I love Seattle. I love the Mariners. I'm not from there. I hate the Seahawks. Yeah, it is kind of weird, loving the Mariners and hating the Seahawks, but oh, Connor, that's soccer. That's kickball, bro. San Francisco is close to Oregon too. I mean, San Francisco's like a 10-hour drive from me, though, so it's not really like geographical. For me, it's that my dad was a big Niner fan because he was a bandwagoner. He was a Yankees fan and a Niners fan. He was also a Blazer fan because he was from Portland, so at least he wasn't a Lakers fan. But yeah, I hate the Seahawks. Bunch of miserable memories.
Yeah, my baseball team is the most random one out of all of them, I think.
I love how I rage baited Adam. He says, "Easy, Tory. They've won 9 in a row. They beat the Niners and the Rams. Easy championship. Doesn't even count if they win at all. Honestly, it's too easy. So, you know." I love how rarely people realize when I'm trolling on stream. It's always funny to me. Where are you from, Tori? Didn't hear. I am a homer, and growing up 1.5 hours from Seattle, I have natural allegiance to their teams. This year's Seahawks team is so likable. Everybody thinks their teams are so likable. I don't know. As a fan of the Niners, your guys' team seems a little obnoxious to me on social media, but, whatever. I grew up in Vancouver. It's like a 2.5 hour drive to Seattle, so. Happy for Sundo? No, I'm not. He still owes me what is it? Like a $30 donation. He's like, "You guys are going to be in it in the fourth quarter." I said, the difference between the Seahawks and Niners score at the start of the fourth quarter has to be what you donate. And then the Seahawks were like up 30. So for gaslighting me, he's supposed to be donating, but he hasn't. So I do not feel happy for him. But yeah, we'll go to a lot of Mariner games this year, but they can't even fill out a roster in the offseason. They never can, so whatever.
I mean, that's why I'm a Niner fan. Prestigious.
Yeah. I'm not. I never saw success.
But yeah, it was a lot different back when I grew up. There wasn't like league pass or Sunday ticket or anything like where you could watch any team you wanted to follow. You were stuck with whatever 2 games were on that day, and they always play. Well, the Seahawks used to be in the AFC until they expanded and switched them over to the NFC. But so yeah, they would always be on the AFC channel and the night, but they were not that good. I mean, they were okay for a while with like Largent and Dave Craig and stuff, but the Niners were always the team that was on the NFC channel because, I mean, they were so good. So it was like a lot of people who grew up around my age were like Braves fans because all the Braves games were randomly on TBS.
Yeah.
And Chicago Cubs games were on WGN all the time. It's kind of sad that they're not anymore, but like, yeah, that's how a lot of people became fans of like random teams because they were the teams that were on TV and that you watched consistently.
Yeah. Taylor Packer says, "Are you going to watch the Super Bowl and root for the Patriots?" I said, yes. I said, the last time I did that, it went splendidly because I was the interception at the goal line. Taylor said he thinks that's disgusting. He says, rooting for the Patriots is nasty work, Tori. That's like rooting for the Lakers or the Yankees. That's fine. Why, as a Niner fan, would I ever root for the Seahawks to win a Super Bowl? Why would I ever root for the Seahawks to win a Super Bowl? Hell no. I rooted for the Dodgers to beat the Blue Jays in this past World Series because The Blue Jays pissed me off when we played them in the ALCS, and that should have been us. So I rooted for the Dodgers to beat the Blue Jays, even though I hate the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers more than the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays beat the Mariners in the playoffs, and their fan base kind of pissed me off. So Dodgers already won like 2 in the past couple years. What's another one to them? They don't care. So yeah, I rooted for them.
Man, Connor just destroyed you in chat. Sorry.
No, he didn't destroy me at all. I'm cursed. So yeah, I haven't won one. Connor, you're not cursed. You just got to care a little bit more. The Saddest Nation says, why would you root for California is the real question. Haha, gross. What do you mean? California is beautiful, man. There's the Portlander that, like, hates California. We got the Portlanders that hate Seattle, the Portlanders that hate California, and then the Portlanders that hate Portland. I don't know what to do about them, but yeah. You can hate Cali teams, but like, there's so many Cali teams. You hate them all. You hate California that much that you hate
screw
all
the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, screw the freaking Kings, man.
Trash ass.
Screw the Sacramento Athletics.
We're like another year. Actually, I don't know where they're playing. They just broke ground on their new stadium in Vegas, but they haven't even officially gotten approval to move to Vegas yet.
I know. The thing is before this past year, I wanted MLB to Portland. I still think it'd be cool to have MLB in Portland, but I think I would struggle a lot more now to become mainly a Portland MLB fan than I would have a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
After the playoff run and all that. Like, that kind of hooked me, you know? Be interesting to see. It would be weird to be conflicted about, like, which team to root for, but...
Also, the Chargers aren't a hateable franchise.
Yeah, true.
Even though they're LA now, but they were a lot more likable in San Diego, I guess.
Yeah.
But they don't have like a huge following in California, so it's not like obnoxious fans.
The thing is, too, is people are like, you're from Washington, as if I should be a Seahawks fan. Fine, I won't be the MLB to Portland fan. I'll be a Mariner fan still. There you go. I'll fulfill that part that way.
See, that's where it gets tricky because technically you do live in Washington, but it's much more – Vancouver's much more
I can leave my house and be in downtown Portland in like 16 minutes compared to 2.5 hours going up to Seattle. Like,
yeah. It's not the Washington Seahawks.
Yeah, true. When I was a kid and like living across the country, I asked my grandfather, like, because he's, from Washington State, from Vancouver. I asked him why he didn't
like the Redskins.
Yeah. They're from Washington. I knew all my states at like 5 years old. Like, yeah. But also, it's not like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Patriots either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's Drake May, Mike Vrabel. Like, they've been bad for so long. It's a little easier to root for them to beat the freaking Seahawks. I mean, I was in a group chat with some Mariner fans, man, and this is what really made it really easy to root against the Seahawks. And every fan base has these people. All right, so it's not like, I'm not saying this is how Seahawks fans are, even though it ticked me off enough at the time to be like, oh, typical Seahawks fan. Like, every fan base has bad people, right? But when George Kittle tore his Achilles, I was in a group chat with Mariner fans. I had to leave the group chat because there was a lot of Seahawks fans like celebrating the fact that he tore his Achilles, and that's still in my mind. So I might try and rejoin the group chat if they lose the Super Bowl. All right. So yeah, I'm rooting for them to lose the Super Bowl. Tori, did you ever pay attention to the songs, or do you always consider them a rival? Always consider them a rival. They're 2.5 hours away from me, and Portland's 15 minutes. Yeah. Like, The state line does not matter.
What are you not getting at
Yeah.
that? Just tease that.
I mean, but like they move. I started paying attention to basketball like their last year in Seattle, so I didn't really know much. I was 10, so. Something tells me they're not letting you back in the group chat if they lose. I'm really cool with the guy who runs the group chat. I talked to him about starting Mariners Uprise before together. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't let me. Steve. You know Steve? Steve runs the group chat. He's not one of the people that were celebrating the injury. Steve's cool. But yeah. We'll see. Smog's still in there. Smog's still in there.
I know Steve as oops, wrong chat guy.
Yep.
Every 3 or 4 weeks he'll post some random thing in our main group chat and just be like, oops, sorry, wrong chat.
Yep. Taylor Packer says, from what I've picked up, Tori, you got several group chat based enemies on X. It's just the Sharpe stands. That's the stand base that hates me now. So it has to be. It was Mellow stands, it was Reddish stands, now Sharpe stands. Travis says, Mariner Steve, that's the guy who messages the wrong chat, and I said that too late.
But also correct.
Anyway. Shout Sleeper, since we're talking about sports, you can use Sleeper on sports and get the free $20 entry with the promo code Uprise and a 100% deposit match up to $100. You can put together a parlay for the Super Bowl. Maybe you can put together a parlay for the Pro Bowl. I haven't checked that yet. They have flag football. That would be sick. Put together a flag football parlay. I've never heard that before, but maybe.
With Shaedon Sanders.
Shaedon Sanders over, since somehow he's in the freaking Pro Bowl. Makes no sense to me.
He's the only one who would do it.
Yeah, but you guys can go onto Sleeper and tell me if they got flag football. So that'd be pretty fun. But yeah. Aeromancer says easy way to lose money betting on the Pro Bowl. Well, guess what? If you just pick the opposite of what's easy to lose money, then it's easy to win money. And if you're really that unconfident, you can use the free $20 entry. No deposit required. So that you might lose, but you're not losing money. And you might win, and you actually win money. So it's a win, no lose with the promo code Uprise. Shout out to Sleeper.
So you're going to go back to the Sonics when...
Totally, dude.
When they come back?
Totally.
Not you, I'm asking Adam.
No, I am.
Okay.
You're going to be alone over here.
All right.
You're going to have to find a new co-host. And then I got to find somebody who cares about the Sonics who doesn't hate the 49ers enough to piss me off.
Good luck with that, because there would be all Seahawks fans.
Yeah. If let's say the Sonics got their team back and the Blazers moved across the country, maybe that would be the only thing that would ever make me consider rooting for the Sonics.
I don't know if I go watch the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
I'd probably just turn to full-time college and just become a college scout or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Wait, Tori, were you a Sonics fan when they were still there? Shout out to Rip City for just joining the stream, because I definitely haven't responded to this multiple times. It's always funny, those of you who will join a stream mid-conversation and ask something that we just answered, and you're just unlucky. You just joined at the wrong time, and then we give you crap for asking something we just answered, even though you never heard it. You know?
He said he didn't even... He was 10 years old the year Sonics left, so he...
But I would have been a Portland fan
started
anyway.
watching basketball, yeah.
I live in Vancouver. It's very close. Where do you guys live? Put it in the live chat. I'm curious. I need to see this. Especially those of you asking if I'd be a Celtics fan instead of a Blazer fan. I'm curious if it's like you don't know how close Vancouver, Washington is. Maybe you think it's Canada.
Prestigious says, I want to show up to a Blazer game in PDX wearing the Sonics jersey. I'll have you know, every single game there's at least one person wearing a Sonics jersey, especially when the Thunder come to town. There's lots of people wearing Sonics jersey to protest. Yeah.
If you're lucky, a certain someone might take a picture of it and post it on Twitter. Anyway. Anything else, Eric?
Garben's lying. Prestigious is in Hawaii.
Nice. Wait, where's Garben?
Paris and Paris, French.
Why don't I see Garben? Did I ban him?
Saddest nation, no. Sadist nation.
I know. Gonna drop the Zillow link for my apartment in chat. Yeah, I should drop the Zillow link for my house in chat. See how that goes.
Taylor Packer is also a liar. Ori Shahong lives in Bali. That's cool.
Arrow, we don't talk about that.
Drop what again? I missed that.
I accidentally doxed myself in the past year for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good. Anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate y'all. If you want something to watch between now and tomorrow's show, we did drop a video over on Rip City Retro, Rich and I, if you want to check it out.
Yep. Good to see Rich back.
Yeah.
And kicking. Love it. Yeah, go check that out. Y'all think Lindeberg's game will translate? I think he'll be a really good role player. I don't know about like star upside necessarily, but I think he should be a top 12 to 18 pick. Yeah, we'll start doing some more draft stuff. I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with my opinions on this year's draft class. Slow start this year for me. But yeah. The thing is, dude, I feel like I have no sleepers. It's just like everybody's really good. Everybody likes is really, really good. It's like almost more difficult to come up with the guys that I think are sleepers because like the top prospects are just so obviously elite.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to diving into the draft.
This draft is deep.
It's deep, man.
So deep.
All right. Anyway.
Thanks everyone for watching. See you tomorrow night.
Yeah, this is definitely time to hit end stream. Appreciate you guys. Leave a like. Leave your thoughts in the comment section if you're watching back after. Always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you to everybody who participated in chat. We'll be back tomorrow, literally tomorrow at 6:30. That stream, hopefully I'll keep a... No, this stream was fun. I wasn't planning on going 2.5 hours, though. I was planning on going like an hour and a half max. So, anyway.
All right. Tomorrow's going to be late, right?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow is going to be late.
Because you have rec.
I have rec, and you're coaching again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be home by like 7:30.
Tomorrow we'll be live around 7:30.
Okay.
So we'll be like an hour late, FYI chat. So I'll try and get the stream made early, and you guys can hang out and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat. Because we can come here an hour after we make the stream and see all your chat comments from the moment we make the stream. So you can leave us random comments for us to read while we set up the stream if you want to, if you're into that. Anyway, we're out of here. Blazers lose. I kind of forgot this game happened. I almost said win.
Blazers care more about beating the Wizards tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah, well, they want Deni to play in his return game because he didn't last year. is what that seemed like to me today. So it's fine. Just don't lose to the freaking Wizards. Score more than 11 or 12 points in the first quarter, please. Yeah. Although you might be able to get away with it against them.
Maybe.
Anyway. Yeah, that first quarter was like, oh, we do not like playing on national TV. Like, we've had some of our worst stretches of the season on national TV, it feels like. So, yeah. Tomorrow's not on national TV. We're playing in Washington, so hopefully it goes better. We'll see. We'll have the postgame show for you going live about an hour late, 7:30ish. Hopefully we see you there. And we're out of here. Have a good rest of your Monday night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!